Hello, I'm Tara Brabazon, and I'm the Dean of Graduate Research at Flinders University. Welcome to Vlog 275, How to Write a Research Proposal. Yeah! And this vlog comes via request from Lauren. Hi, Lauren. And I need to explain what I mean by research proposal. Now, I know in academic life, writing a research proposal, well, that's about as common as a comma in a sentence. But particularly, Lauren wanted me to focus on what she described as the research proposal that is written in preparation for a PhD. So the proposal that you submit to a university to ask if they will enter you into their program. Now, in some university systems in some countries, this is referred to as a research outline. So we all know what I'm talking about today. The research proposal, the research outline that you write before you're granted entry into a PhD program. So that's great for a particular group of students, but for all of you already enrolled in a PhD program, I wanted to offer some more general comments about a research proposal, because we write them, whether it's to funders, for consultancy. This is something we do pretty well on a weekly or monthly basis. So I'm going to make some general points as well. Now, research proposals are quite difficult to write. They are a genre of writing, and the challenge we have is it's a genre of writing that we all supposedly agree on what it looks like, and yet when you actually go into the literature, you see the incredible diversity. So a research proposal differs radically by its subject, by its discipline, and by the people who are reading it. So when I was preparing for the vlog this week and reading all the material, you know, whether we're dealing with refereed articles or what exists in institutions, what they're asking for from a research proposal, what I saw very clearly was incredible diversity. So I see why students are so confused about this research proposal, research outline, because all these scholars and institutions are saying this is what a research proposal is, and when you actually compare it between the different research proposals, that certainty is just not there, because the diversity of the genre is clear. Now, there are reasons for that diversity, because research proposals do differ. They differ by the discipline that you're in, the subject that you're in, but also the intent of the proposal itself. So I'll make sure that we're talking very strongly today about the research proposal as a genre. So I'm going to present for you the most common headings and what exists under those headings, but I'll also make sure there's a little bit of advice about how to render the proposal stronger, and also some of the more outlier headings that we find. So let's start with the first crucial question for you all. What is a research proposal? Now, a research proposal presents an idea, and it also presents the outcomes from that idea. So it's an arc, if you will. A research proposal presents an arc from an idea to an outcome. Now, let's fill that in a bit. So we've got idea, we've got outcome. What happens in the middle? Well, what happens in the middle is you need to have a research question. Now, we need to have a research question. That's the crucial bit of a proposal. What is the research question? But then there are two other bits to the proposal too. What is the research question? How are you going to answer that question? And what do you think you may discover? Right? So research questions, how are you going to do it? And what do you think you're going to discover? Right? So those three questions are basically what a research proposal does. So, of course, those three questions could render this the shortest vlog we've ever recorded. They are the key questions. So if you're asked to do a research outline, a research proposal of 1 or 2 pages, then those three questions will allow you to do so. But what I'd like to drill down now is to look at the research proposal of a more normative length. So mostly universities ask for about 2,000 words. So what I'm going to do now is drill down with a little bit more granularity, a little bit more complexity, to show you the headings you need for a research proposal to get it to about 2,000 words. So here we go. So obviously the first heading is your title. Very, very important. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but so you start with your title. Yeah, duh, right. Then we move to the second heading. And this is an important one. Why are you interested in this topic? So under this heading, what we need to explain is, what is your motivation? What brought you to this topic? And why do you think this topic has value in being researched now, right now? Now, I'm terribly interested in student motivation, okay? When I'm thinking about taking on a student for myself as a supervisor, I am terribly interested in the student motivation and what is drawing them to undertake a PhD now. Now, in my research internationally, there are clearly supervisors that don't care at all about student motivation. So in their proposal, they simply want, what is the project, research questions, outcomes, thanks, in, out, shake it all about, cool. But a lot of universities in particular want some information about the student. So you need to work out, for example, it's terribly important to me, to be honest with you, when I am assessing a student and a research proposal, I'm more interested in the student motivation than the research project itself. Because to be honest with you, I can teach a student methods, I can teach methodology, ontology, epistemology, I can teach you that. I can't teach you to be motivated. So I'm terribly interested in understanding you and understanding your motivation in the research. So also, if you can, try and present your excitement, your enthusiasm for this topic. That will matter. Okay, so we've now moved from your interest in the topic, to what do you think you will find. So we're very much in sort of the sandwich bit, when the meat and when the salad bit of the sandwich. Now, what do you think you're going to find? So let's structure and give you the headings for this middle bit of the proposal. What are you going to find? So here's the first key heading. Key question, or key questions. This is crucial. So what's happening under this heading is obviously, what's your key question? What's the question you think you're going to answer? Now, with that, you've got to give me a little bit more. Why do you think this question is significant? And, or, what value will this question bring to your discipline or disciplines? What's the value of the question? Okay, so that's the key question heading. We now move to the summary or synopsis. Again, pretty crucial and very hard to write. The summary or synopsis is about a paragraph in length. And this is where you tell me about the project that you think you're going to do. Tell me about your vista. Tell me about what you see. So this is sharp, this is short, and this is punchy. Now, the next heading after the summary or synopsis is, and it can be either of these headings, background or literature review. Background or literature review. Now, this is not the literature review, because literature reviews can be 10,000 words, 15,000 words, 20,000 words on their own. So it's not that sort of literature review. So in many ways, background is almost clearer here. But what you're doing in this section is you're telling me about the key scholars in this area. So yes, we're back to AbFab. Names, darling, names. Give me names, okay? Tell us who has done the main research in this area, and explain how you acknowledge and respect that research, but through your research question or questions, you have found a gap in the research. And when you found a gap in the research, then what your proposal is going to be doing is showing how you will address that gap. So make sure you show that you've done your homework, you know the main scholars in the field, you are intellectually generous, and you show how you will build on their work. Okay, so you can see what we've done here. What will you research? What will you research? Then why would you do this research? Why would we care? That's how we've moved through the proposal. Now, in the proposal, don't think you have to answer the question that you've asked. You've asked a research question, that's great. You don't answer it in a proposal. You'll answer it in the entirety of your thesis, okay? So ask a provocative question, suggest what you may find and the key scholars who will help you answer it, but don't think you have to answer a question in a proposal. That's why you do a PhD. So if it helps you, and this certainly helped me when I was trying to bring this vlog together for you all, what you're trying to show to supervisors, to colleagues, to funders, what you're trying to show is that you've discovered an evocative and powerful question. And you've thought about this question and you're going to show why it's important, why this question is significant. That's what a research proposal does. So this is a crucial heading that you can put in at this point, and I would recommend that. So why your research is important, or why this research is significant. So the words important or significant. And that's where, depending on your field, you may talk about the changes in society, cultural shifts, something that's happened in your discipline, and why now, why this research is important, is timely, what societal problem you are addressing or perhaps solving. Okay. Now, at this point, so you're doing well. We're winning. We're reaching the end point of the proposal now. The next heading is research approach, or if you want to go there, research methodology. Both work. Now, remember, this is not a methodology chapter. It's not 10,000 words, okay? All you're simply showing is that you have some expertise in understanding how you will address this question, okay? So this means at its most basic, qual quant. If you're doing mixed, explain what sort of mix you're going to be doing. So in many ways, to be frank with you, you're displaying more methods than methodologies. So the tools you are going to deploy when you're answering this research question. The methodology will come later in the thesis itself, but address the how. How do you think you're going to answer this research question? Okay, next heading. Let's move to timelines. You're going to explain to people how you are going to finish this research in a timely fashion. So this is where the people who are assessing your proposal, we're looking for scope and scale. Have you been reasonable? Is this research feasible? This is when you start dealing with the word feasible, okay? Is it able to be completed within the parameters of a PhD, say? Or if you're dealing with a funder or consultancy, within what is often a very finite or tight timeline. You're showing the capacity to do that research in a particular time. Okay, the next heading is a really important one, and it is resources. So yes, resources. Now in many disciplines, this is absolutely crucial. So to be honest with you, a university can't let you into a program unless we know that we can fund it. So you need to be upfront. What are the resources that you're going to require to do this work? So if you need a $5 million bit of kit, then you need to say that. And of course, a university with their hand on their heart can't let you in because they're not going to be able to buy that $5 million bit of kit, right? So you need to explain the resources you require to be able to complete this project. My last job before this one was as a head of school. And to be honest with you, and you give a sense of heads of school, and you know how much I love PhD students and love PhDs, but as a head of school, my responsibility was different. And in our system for my last university, question 9 was about resources. And so as head of school, I would always start evaluating a research proposal at question 9. So I'm a head of school. Before I can even get enthusiastic about this student or this project, can I afford it? Okay, so resources matter for the people that are going to have to fund this research for you. So what are you going to need to do it? Okay, now the other key heading to put in place for many disciplines after resources is the ethical consideration or the ethical considerations. So what you need to specify are the ethical issues that may be involved here. So risk management, risk mitigation here, and what could happen in terms of ethical issues and how they may impact on the timeline of your research. Okay, the final heading we got here, the final heading is your bibliography or your reference list, depending on your discipline. So these matter. So your assessors are seeing, firstly, if you can reference, so they're assessing your academic literacy, and secondly, they're seeing if you've found the major scholars in the field. So the reference list or the bibliography is absolutely crucial. And to be honest with you, I tend to go there first now. Before I get enthusiastic about the person, I go, right, well, have they done the heavy lifting? Do they sort of know the field? We start there. So as you can see, and that's it, they're the headings. So as you can see, if this is something you're moving towards, and I have a lot of students out there, prospective students out there, who are thinking of doing a PhD, and they're approaching me and saying, what do I need to be thinking about? So for that group out there, hi, what I'd advise that you do is use the headings that I've deployed in the vlog today, and as you get ideas, start to put content under those headings. And that means you're not putting yourself under a huge amount of pressure. As you get the great idea and the great sentence, you can gently, continually add to the research proposal. Okay, so make sure you are getting this information ready. You're getting these quite difficult paragraphs written. So for the final little bit of the vlog, I want to offer the glitter at the window. So what you can do to make your proposal stunning, to make it stand out from the crowd. How do we heighten this proposal? Now, the first way to heighten it is your first line, and that is your title. So make sure you have an incredibly punchy title, an attractive, interesting, engaging main title, and of course a descriptive and clear secondary or subtitle. So that main title will draw in the reader, the secondary title, the subheading, will allow the reader to understand something of what you're doing at the second line of your proposal. Now, the other clear and important heading to add to the best of the proposals is your research or prospective research supervisor. Now, let me tell you about the students who get into trouble and can't really get into a university and into a PhD program. Let me tell you what they do. And probably only a dean can tell you this truth. We have students who have a tendency to send a proposal to 20 or 30 or indeed 50 members, academic members of staff at a single institution. So they send the same proposal to 20 or 30 or 50 people at the same university. Do not do this. Seriously, do not do that. That shows you've not taken the process seriously. And let me tell you what happens. We know you've done that because people like me, deans, get sent the 10, 20, 30, 40 versions from all the different academics around the institution. Like, I just got this overnight, not really sure what this is, Tara. Can you progress this in some form? So I see the same email with the same proposal and simply the name of the prospective supervisor changed, and I see that email 50 times. So I know that your approach has not been focused. So you need to show, to be frank, you need to show that you've been respectful of your prospective institution and you are respectful of your prospective supervisor. And you need to demonstrate that respect in and through your proposal. So you can have, and to be frank with you, the best proposals have another heading in it, which is why I want this person as a supervisor. Okay? And that explains why you are sending the proposal to this particular scholar and how and why you respect their work. So you need, oh gee, I wish I could sort of put glitter all around this statement. You need to demonstrate that you know who your supervisor is. You need to have read their work, you need to have respected their work, and demonstrate that respect when you write your proposal and you approach that scholar. Now, sadly, and I wish I was joking, on a daily basis, I receive requests from students to supervise engineering PhDs, pharmacy PhDs, physics PhDs. Now, I have enormous respect for those disciplines and I have no expertise in them at all. So what is going on in a student's mind that someone like me would receive a request for an engineering PhD? And of course that just shows they haven't done their homework. So what I really need to say to you is please do your homework. Find the scholars at a university in your field. Respect them, read their work so you are approaching them with intellectual generosity and knowledge. Okay, that's the first step. And you've got a great chance of getting into a university if you demonstrate that respect. So do not ever, ever, ever cut and paste different scholars' names into a generic inquiry. Team, I can't tell you how often, it's at least once a day, I see students do that. They've got their generic email that they're sending to 10, 20, 50 academics, and of course they're using a different font for the Dear Tara, Dear Mike, Dear Jamie, right? And so you can see that's their generic email in one font and they've added the name in another at the end, okay? So you've got to remember the commitment that a supervisor puts in when we're supervising a thesis, okay? When we decide to take on a student, that's 3 or 4 or 5 years of our lives. And also remember, when we choose you, we've not chosen a series of other scholars that have approached us. So it is a very precious relationship and you've got to show respect for it, because if we take you on, there's a stack of other people we've chosen not to take on, okay? So absolutely, write the generic proposal that we've talked about today with those headings, that's great. But you know what? Change the proposal every time when you're looking at the section on your prospective supervisor. Demonstrate respect, show you've done the work. Now, most importantly, if this is helpful to you, there are 3 audiences for a research proposal or a research outline. Firstly, and most importantly, it is your prospective supervisor, okay? Your supervisor or your advisor has the green light or the red light, the yes or the no. We don't progress anything if your prospective supervisor says no. So they are your most important audience. Your second audience, a crew like me, deans, because we're assessing resourcing, we're assessing the balance, are we sure everything's sorted there, is the supervisor able to supervise, workload and so forth, funding. So we do all the institutional work to make sure that that student matches with that supervisor and it's a good match. That's great. There's also a third audience that no one tells you about, and that is admissions administrators. They are crucial, and a big hi to Anne-Marie, to Jenny and to Sally, who are our admissions administrators at Flinders University. Now, they are the incredibly important humans that take your initial inquiry and move you through the stages of application. Very important people, know their names and respect what they're doing for you. They're trying to help you. So those 3 groups will be assessing you, assessing the quality of your research, your originality, your qualifications, your commitment, but also your attention to detail and your respect of the process. So for example, we as people in a university, if you're having difficulty following instructions, moving through the admissions process, then what are we learning about your ability to do a PhD? Think about it. So the key question for those 3 groups is is this project feasible? Can we, with hand on heart, let this student into the university and know that they're going to be successful? So it's always important to remember the audience for your research proposal. Yes, it may be PhD supervisors or advisors. It also may be funders or consultants. People are going to pay you money. So what we're looking at, all those different groups, whether it's a council, whether it's a small or medium-sized enterprise, is we're looking to see if you can conduct this research. Have you got the knowledge from the literature? Names, darling, names. Do you know the names? Are you interested in the work of prospective supervisors? And can you communicate enthusiasm and motivation for this project? Now, also remember that there are certain disciplines where this proposal in many ways is irrelevant, and I'll explain what that means, but it's not really irrelevant. So in many disciplines, some disciplines these days, if you are accepted as a PhD student, you will be slotted into already existing projects. Okay, so if you've got a particular lab and you're interested in working in that lab, you won't be choosing the area that you're working in. You will slot into the projects of that lab. But it doesn't mean that this proposal is not important, because it has a different function in those contexts. The proposal is about you. The proposal is about assessing your ability to understand and to conduct research. So the proposal is a proxy for your ability to construct a research project. Crucial. So do make sure that you demonstrate yourself at your best, because it is a proxy for you. So finally, I just wanted to finish off with the crucial take-home messages, the things to really focus on with the proposal that will make a difference. So firstly, make sure your research idea is clear. What is your research idea? Put it in a sentence. If you can't put it in a sentence, it's not clear. Make sure that you have researched the department, the school, the college, the faculty, and the supervisor that you want to work with. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you demonstrate respect for the supervisor or advisor, they will demonstrate respect for you. Now, make sure the proposal has good and clear headings. Make sure that it is structured clearly. Now, make sure that the proposal is doable. It's feasible, it has clear scope and scale. And finally, for people like me, make sure that your passion and your enthusiasm for research is clear. So as you can see, the research proposal is a remarkable beast. It is a proxy for your ability. It's a proxy for you. So I hope this helps you. I've been as honest as I can be today. Here are the headings that you're required to use, and let's start to populate those headings. I wish you love, light, and peace. Tea out.